In August 2021, someone pulled off the biggest crypto heist in history. $611 million, gone in minutes, drained from a network most people had never even heard of. Then something happened that made this story unlike any heist before it. The thieves started talking, not to lawyers, not to the FBI, to the company they just robbed. What came next involved a public Q&A conducted on the blockchain itself, a $500,000 reward, and a job offer from the very people who had just been robbed. This is the story of Mr. White Hat, the most polite hacker in financial history. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why one of the most successful crypto thefts ever pulled also became one of the strangest case studies in corporate security. To understand what happened, you need to know what Poly Network actually was. Back in 2021, decentralized finance was exploding. Billions of dollars were flowing through protocols with names most people couldn't pronounce. But there was a structural problem. Most cryptocurrencies didn't talk to each other. Bitcoin lived on its own network. Ethereum had its own ecosystem. Binance Smart Chain operated separately again. Each one was its own little walled garden. Poly Network solved that problem. It was a cross-chain bridge, basically the postal service of crypto, letting you move tokens from one blockchain to another. By August 2021, it was handling massive transaction volume across Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, and Polygon. And like a postal service, it had to be trusted to accept packages on one end and deliver them on the other. That trust was about to become a problem. On August 10th, around lunchtime UTC, something strange started showing up on blockchain explorers. Huge transactions were leaving Poly Network's smart contracts. Not normal user transactions, massive ones. Hundreds of millions of dollars worth of tokens were being drained in minutes. By the time anyone at Poly Network noticed, the damage was done. $273 million in Ethereum tokens, $253 million on Binance Smart Chain, $85 million on Polygon, the total, over $611 million. The largest DeFi hack ever recorded at that point in history. How did the attacker do it? Without going too deep into the code, they found a flaw in how Poly Network's cross-chain smart contract verified messages. The contract trusted certain authorized addresses, called keepers, to tell it which cross-chain transactions were legitimate. The hacker essentially tricked the contract into thinking they were the network itself. Once they were accepted as an authorized keeper, they could simply tell the contract to send funds anywhere. And that's exactly what they did. Now here is where the story stops looking like a normal heist and starts looking like something out of a heist comedy. Poly Network's first move wasn't to call law enforcement. It wasn't to file lawsuits. It was to post a tweet. They published an open letter to the hacker, addressed simply as, "Dear Hacker." They called the attack out publicly. They listed the cryptocurrency exchanges they were already working with to track the stolen tokens. They warned that any attempt to launder the funds through major exchanges would be flagged immediately. And then they made an extraordinary request. They asked the hacker to give the money back. You'd expect this to go nowhere. You'd expect the hacker to vanish into the night, swap the funds through a few mixers, and disappear forever. Instead, the hacker responded, and how they responded changed everything. The hacker started embedding messages directly into blockchain transactions. They would send tiny amounts of cryptocurrency with notes attached, and those notes were public. Anyone with a blockchain explorer could read them in real time. It was like watching a confession unfold on live television, except the television was the Ethereum network, and the audience was the entire crypto world. The first message was almost casual. The hacker said they had always planned to return the funds. They claimed they weren't interested in the money. They said they did it for fun, and to expose the vulnerability before someone with worse intentions could find it. They argued that by stealing the money first, they had actually saved Poly Network from a much worse fate. Now you can be skeptical of that explanation. Plenty of people were. Stealing $600 million and then giving it back when you realize you can't get away with it isn't exactly the same as ethical hacking. But the hacker kept going. They held what they called a Q&A session, answering questions submitted by the crypto community through transaction memos. People asked why they did it. The hacker said they wanted to teach Poly Network a lesson. They asked if it was hard to pull off. The hacker said the bug was actually pretty obvious once you knew where to look. They asked what they would do with the money. The hacker said they were going to return it. And then, slowly, in batches, they started doing exactly that. Within a few days, hundreds of millions of dollars began flowing back to Poly Network. The hacker returned the Ethereum tokens. They returned the Binance Smart Chain tokens. They returned the Polygon tokens. By the end of the week, almost all of the $611 million was back where it started. But there was one complication. About $33 million of the stolen funds were in a stablecoin called USDT, issued by a company called Tether. Tether had frozen those funds the moment they noticed the attack, which meant the hacker couldn't return them even if they wanted to. So that money sat in limbo, technically still controlled by the hacker but completely unusable. This is where Poly Network did something nobody saw coming. Instead of pressing charges, instead of demanding the maximum penalty, instead of sending the FBI to track this person down, Poly Network offered the hacker a job. They publicly proposed making Mr. White Hat their chief security advisor. They offered a $500,000 bug bounty as a thank you for, in their words, helping them improve their security. They asked the hacker to keep the bounty as a reward for returning the funds. The hacker, to everyone's astonishment, refused the money. They said they didn't want it. They suggested Poly Network use it to improve security or compensate users who had been affected. Poly Network ended up using some of those funds for their own bug bounty program going forward. So let's step back and think about what actually happened here. Because the more you examine it, the stranger it gets. A person, or possibly a group, identified a vulnerability in a major DeFi protocol. They could have reported it through proper channels. They could have collected a bug bounty without ever touching the money. They could have done what white hat hackers do every day in tech companies around the world. Instead, they decided the most effective way to demonstrate the bug was to actually exploit it. To take $611 million and just walk out the front door with it. And then, having proven their point in the loudest possible way, they walked back in and gave it all back. Was it ethical? That depends on who you ask. Security researchers were divided. Some pointed out that the hacker took on enormous personal risk by handling stolen funds, even if they intended to return them. Any mistake, any compromised wallet, any accident, and that money could have been lost forever. Real users would have suffered. Others argued that the hacker exposed a critical flaw that could have been exploited by genuinely malicious actors. If a state-sponsored hacking group had found this bug first, the money would never have come back. From that angle, Mr. White Hat actually saved the network. The crypto community was just as split. Some treated Mr. White Hat like a folk hero. Others pointed out that calling yourself a white hat after the fact, when you've already taken the money and noticed you can't launder it, is a pretty convenient story to tell. We still don't know who Mr. White Hat actually was. Their identity has never been publicly confirmed. There's no court case, no arrest, no plea deal. They simply did the thing, gave the money back, and walked away. It's one of the few major financial crimes in modern history that essentially ended with a corporate handshake. For Poly Network, the story didn't have the happy ending you might expect. The protocol was hacked again in 2023, this time losing tens of millions of dollars in a separate attack that didn't end with a polite return of funds. The 2021 incident, despite all the goodwill it generated, didn't make them invincible, but the broader lessons stuck with the entire industry. The Poly Network hack became the moment when crypto companies started taking bug bounties seriously. Major protocols began offering rewards in the millions for serious vulnerability disclosures. The thinking was simple. If you can pay a researcher $1 or $2 million to quietly fix a bug, that's a much better outcome than waking up to find $600 million missing and having to beg the thief to give it back. It also raised harder questions about how we even define crime in decentralized systems. There were no banks involved here. No physical vault was broken into. The money was moved by exploiting the rules of a smart contract that was, in a technical sense, doing exactly what it was programmed to do. The hacker didn't break the system so much as they used it the way nobody intended. That ambiguity is going to keep showing up as more of the financial world moves on-chain. Code is law, the saying goes, until the code does something nobody wants and we all start asking who's actually in charge. Mr. White Hat got $611 million, held the entire crypto industry's attention for a week, refused $500,000 in reward money, and disappeared. No arrest, no trial, no conviction, just a strange, public, almost philosophical exit from the biggest theft DeFi had ever seen. If you want to see how another crypto story went in a very different direction, where the founder didn't give the money back and didn't get a job offer, the FTX collapse video is on screen now. And if you want more stories like this one, where the financial world does something genuinely bizarre, hit subscribe. There are plenty more coming.